The year is 1823, a time of transformation and uncertainty, where the seeds of a new era are being sown. The United States, a fledgling nation, casts a wary eye on the world. Its borders are expanding, and its people are filled with a sense of possibility and trepidation. Just decades removed from its own revolution, the memories of struggle and triumph are still fresh in the minds of its citizens. America feels the growing pains of a nation defining its place on the world stage. The challenges are immense, but so are the opportunities. Europe, with its empires and ambitions, still casts a long shadow across the globe. The old world powers are watching closely, wary of this new player on the international stage. The young nation faces a choice: embrace the role of a global power or retreat into isolation. The debates are fierce and the stakes are high. The answer will come to define the future of American foreign policy for centuries to come. President James Monroe steps forward with a vision. The Monroe Doctrine, a bold declaration by President James Monroe, will set the United States on a course of westward expansion and global influence. It is a statement of intent, a promise to protect the Western Hemisphere from European interference. It is a declaration heard not just in the halls of power, but in the hearts and minds of the American people. It resonates with their hopes and dreams for a brighter future. The Monroe Doctrine is a testament to the enduring power of ideas. It encapsulates the spirit of a nation determined to carve out its own destiny. It is a story of ambition, of idealism, and of the enduring struggle to shape a nation's destiny. The doctrine becomes a cornerstone of American policy, influencing decisions and actions for generations. It is a story that continues to resonate in the 21st century. The principles laid out in the Monroe Doctrine still echo in the corridors of power and in the hearts of the American people, reminding us of the enduring quest for freedom and influence. To understand the significance of the Monroe Doctrine, we must first journey back to the early 19th century. This was a time of great change and upheaval, not just in America, but across the globe. The world is in a state of flux. Nations are rising and falling, borders are being redrawn, and new powers are emerging. The Napoleonic Wars have just ended, leaving Europe exhausted and redrawn. The continent is grappling with the aftermath of years of conflict, and the balance of power is shifting. Across the Atlantic, the Spanish colonies in Latin America are fighting for their independence. Leaders like Simon Bolivar are spearheading movements that will reshape the region. For the United States, this presents both an opportunity and a challenge. The young nation sees a chance to expand its influence, but also faces the risk of becoming entangled in foreign conflicts. The collapse of Spanish power creates a power vacuum in the Western Hemisphere. This vacuum is a double-edged sword, offering both potential and peril. Meanwhile, European powers are eager to reassert their dominance. They see the instability in Latin America as an opportunity to extend their influence and control. Russia, too, is expanding its reach, pushing south from Alaska along the Pacific coast. The Tsar's ambitions add another layer of complexity to the geopolitical landscape. The United States, though officially neutral in these conflicts, watches with growing concern. The government and its citizens are wary of the intentions of these foreign powers. The possibility of European powers gaining a foothold in the Americas is a threat to the nation's security and its aspirations. The stage is set for a bold declaration that will shape the future of the Western Hemisphere. On December 2, 1823, President James Monroe delivers his annual message to Congress. Within this routine address, he outlines a bold new vision for American foreign policy. It is a message that will reverberate through history. Monroe declares that the Americas are no longer open to European colonization. He warns European powers against interfering in the affairs of the newly independent republics in Latin America. The United States, he proclaims, will consider any such interference as a threat to its own peace and safety. This is the crux of the Monroe Doctrine. It is a clear and unambiguous message to the world. The Western Hemisphere is the domain of the United States. Section 4. Pillars of a New Foreign Policy. The Monroe Doctrine was more than just a warning. It was a blueprint for America's future. It rested on three key pillars. First, it asserted American neutrality in European wars and rivalries. The United States, Monroe declared, would not interfere in the internal affairs of European powers. Second, it proclaimed the Western Hemisphere closed to further European colonization. This was aimed squarely at deterring any European power from attempting to establish new colonies or seize territory in the Americas. Finally, the doctrine warned European powers against interfering in the affairs of the newly independent republics in Latin America. The United States viewed these fledgling nations as vital to its own security and prosperity. Section 5. Echoes across the hemisphere. The immediate reaction to the Monroe Doctrine is mixed. This bold declaration by President James Monroe in 1823 aimed to deter European powers from further colonizing the Americas, asserting that any such attempts would be viewed as acts of aggression against the United States. European powers are outraged by what they see as American arrogance. They perceive the doctrine as a direct challenge to their influence and interests in the Western Hemisphere, and many European leaders express their disdain openly. Some dismiss it as an empty threat, given the limited military power of the United States at the time. They believe that the U.S. lacks the naval and military strength to enforce such a sweeping policy, viewing it as more of a symbolic gesture than a practical deterrent. However, the doctrine resonates deeply in Latin America. For the newly independent nations of the region, it represents a form of moral support and a potential shield against the return of European colonial ambitions. The newly independent republics, though wary of American intentions, welcome the protection it offers from European encroachment. They see it as an opportunity to solidify their sovereignty and build their nations without the looming threat of European intervention. The Monroe Doctrine provides a shield, however precarious, behind which these nations can consolidate their independence. It becomes a cornerstone of their foreign policy, allowing them to focus on internal development and nation-building. Within the United States, the doctrine is met with a mix of support and apprehension. Some Americans view it as a bold and necessary step to assert the nation's growing influence and protect its interests in the Western Hemisphere. Some applaud Monroe's boldness, seeing it as a defining moment in the nation's rise to power. They believe it marks the United States' emergence as a key player on the global stage, capable of shaping international affairs. Others worry about the potential costs of such a bold stance, fearing entanglement in foreign conflicts. They are concerned that the doctrine might provoke European powers and lead to military confrontations that the young nation is not prepared to handle. The debate over the Monroe Doctrine's implications continues to shape American foreign policy for years to come. Section 6. The Doctrine's Long Shadow. The true impact of the Monroe Doctrine unfolds over the following decades. It becomes a cornerstone of American foreign policy, invoked by presidents to justify interventions in Latin America and the Caribbean. From the Spanish-American War to the construction of the Panama Canal, the Monroe Doctrine casts a long shadow over U.S. involvement in the region. It is used to justify both acts of intervention and, ironically, periods of isolationism. The doctrine's legacy is complex and often controversial. Critics argue that it fostered a paternalistic and interventionist approach to Latin America, undermining the very sovereignty it claimed to protect. Section 7. A legacy etched in time. Despite its complexities, the Monroe Doctrine remains a landmark document in American history. It is a testament to the enduring power of ideas to shape the destiny of nations. More than 2 centuries after its proclamation, the Monroe Doctrine continues to resonate in discussions of U.S. foreign policy. It serves as a reminder of the nation's enduring commitment to its own hemisphere and its determination to be the arbiter of its own destiny. The Monroe Doctrine, for better or worse, has left an indelible mark on the course of American history.